What's up, everybody? The main event Swerve. It's Blackjack, your host here, and let's go ahead and jump straight into our second ever episode. I really need to get an intro for this. Eventually, I'm going to have like a set intro because I feel like I'm introducing this terribly every single time I come in. But let's go ahead and jump straight into our second. Well, I don't want to say our second podcast yet because this one actually has nothing to do with what I want to talk about. I'm actually going to upload this separately later on today, where I'm going to be talking about kind of like the rest of the divisions in the WWE because I think I've ragged on the Divas long enough now. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the Monday Night Raw of last night of July 29, 2013. And the Raw overall was just pretty just okay. Um, I don't even know if okay is the word. I just like after it was done, I just didn't really care. Nothing mattered. Nothing really important happened. Yeah, it was just all kind of like whatever. So let's go through the matches. I believe the first thing that happened, Vince McMahon came out with Brad Maddox to kind of start everything, and basically Vince McMahon was just kind of like he doesn't want John Cena or Daniel Bryan to win at SummerSlam or whatever, and Daniel Bryan comes out. Okay, wait. Okay, there was one thing that mattered that night: the Vince McMahon squat. Because when it happened, if you were with me in the podcast with Wiza and Smalls on the Cut a Check show, that like I saw it happening, and it wasn't even like a squat. What he really did was like he just kind of like shuffled his legs out a little bit, so that like it like forces his like knees to bend a little bit, and his body got shorter so that he could get on Daniel Bryan's level. The second he did that, I started to lose it with Smalls and Wiza while we were in the podcast last night, and he was just the squat. The squat was priceless. If you missed it, go catch it on like WWE's YouTube page or whatever. To me, it was just hilarious. It was great. His banter with Daniel Bryan and them going back and forth and like getting on each other's tippy toes and stuff. It was kind of funny. It was silly, and you really got to see how much the crowd is really behind Daniel Bryan, but you also just get to see the monster heel that Vince really is, which was great. Afterwards, after that segment was done, there was a very awkward transition, and it's not so much that I don't mind seeing the Shield, but like usually when you hear the Shield's music hit, you're like, uh oh, like it's getting ready to start. Like, okay, are they going to come after Vince and Daniel Bryan? Is that really what they're going to do? No, their theme song was just used to say, "Oh, hey, we're having a match now. Please get out of our ring." And it seemed a little awkward. It didn't seem quite right. So the Shield come out, and it goes to commercial break, and Mark Henry is out there with the Usos as we like to call them, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, and and yeah, they don't even get their like entrance shown at all. So that's like an automatic sign. Okay, they're gonna lose. Um, so yeah, Dean Ambrose hits them with the Usos with their finish or whatever. It was an all right match. Um, it was pretty good. Didn't Nobody looked really weak in that one. But after the match was over, like Mark Henry went off in the Shield. It was a decent match overall. Didn't I just like it just doesn't really do anything to me because one like I thought when the Shield won the championships they would make it matter, and right now they're not. They're really not. Like I don't want anybody else to really win the tag team championships except maybe the primetime players. Primetime players, I think, should probably be the team that wins it right now. If Team Rhodes Scholars were still going, I would think them too, but they're not, since they're kind of like breaking up and having a feud of their own. But like I guess I just like I don't care right now because it's like the Usos are getting this really big push that makes no sense to me. Like I just don't get where it's coming from and why them when they're like the most generic um, face tag team that there is right now. And I don't know. Like it wasn't like they put on a bad performance. They were decent in ring, but I just don't care about the Usos and the Shield right now. Aren't really doing anything with their titles. Like I think it's just because they just come out and take care of business. Like they just come out. It's like, all right, we're here to wrestle. All right, we beat you. All right, we're gonna triple powerbomb people. Like that's just what they do. So it's very difficult because they don't like. Do they really generate like heat? Like yeah, they powerbomb Mark Henry, but Mark Henry isn't challenging like Dean Ambrose for the United States Championship or anything. And even though the Usos are challenging the Shield for the tag team championships, it just makes the United States Championship mean less because like Dean Ambrose is always involved in like the tag team mess. Like there's always like a 3-man tag team against the Shield, and Dean Ambrose doesn't really feud with anybody. Like after the feud with Kofi Kingston, I completely forgot who his opponent was for the U.S. Championship a while ago. I like at the last pay-per-view, I've completely forgot. I don't even remember if he had one. And it's just like you like I just like he doesn't have anybody who he's really feuding with right now. I mean, is this is like Mark Henry going to challenge him for the U.S. Championship? No, we already know that's not going to happen. And if that does happen, it just looks weird. Like, what is Mark Henry doing challenging for the U.S. Championship after he just had a match against John Cena for the the WWE Championship? It just like nothing makes sense. So I mean, good match, but just like I don't get where this is going. Other than to get the Usos over, but whatever. Um, Afterwards, I believe it was Rob Van Dam who came out and went against Fandango. I feel like Rob Van Dam is just kind of getting tossed all over the place. I mean, I understand that he's just back, and it's kind of difficult to just like throw him into a feud with somebody right away. But like he's just kind of like going against random guys now. Fandango does what Fandango does, which is go out and say Fandango, and then when he's getting his ass beat halfway through the match, he leaves. Which of course he did again. Got himself counted out, left, and then posed on top of the ramp with Summer Rae and just said his name, and we all just went whatever. I'm still trying to figure this out. Like I just don't get it. Like because I feel like Fandango is either just pure genius or the stupidest thing ever, and I can't figure out which one yet. I'm torn because I want to believe it's just the stupidest thing ever, yet he has so many brilliant moments where he just gets laid out for his whole gimmick that it's like, okay, I think this is a joke and I get it, but no, it just I don't know. I guess it's just because I can't take Fandango seriously. I can't. I'm going to continue to butcher his name until he actually does something. All right, so after that, I think the next segment had AJ Lee and like Big E talking, where AJ's like, "Oh, you never know what to expect from me," and then AJ comes out for her match against Caitlyn. This was actually a very good Divas match. I enjoyed it. Good. 5 to 6 minutes, so they definitely got their time. Caitlyn won, and Caitlyn hit AJ with like a pretty big spear. Looked like it hurt. It was very good. Both of them are looking well. Caitlyn's looking stronger, and I think after that segment on SmackDown where I'm sorry, the timing of it was just beautiful because I never saw it coming, and then it just happened. Where AJ Lee is in the middle of the ring, and she's like tearing up all of Dolph Ziggler's stuff in his suitcase or whatever. And Dolph Ziggler's just at the top of the ramp, just like laughing and making jokes or whatever. And Dolph Ziggler goes, "Oh, hey babe, look out!" Like in that exact voice, just that kind of like, like, "Oh, stop, don't," like it's so Like it's giving you a warning, and the warning is legitimate, but like you really just don't care. And like the second he says like, "Oh hey babe, look out of nowhere, like I seriously want to know where she came from. Out of nowhere, AJ just turns around. The camera finally hits as she's like turning around, and Caitlyn just spears her into the ground. It was so awesome. I loved it. It was great. So I think Caitlyn is getting a little bit of redemption with this whole Dolph Ziggler thing. And I think she's become a little bit more redeemable since, oh god, the backlash. I think, yeah, backlash was the pay per view where she did the cry and nobody cared. She's rebounded nicely from that, so I got to give her that. Speaking of Dolph Ziggler, Ziggler came out after that match was done, and then challenged Big E. AJ interferes, and I think she hits Dolph. I just like I don't remember what exactly happened, but I know that she interferes, costs Big E the match, and then Dolph Ziggler just kind of gets out of there. Big E's trying to you know get AJ to calm down while asking her like what's going on, like why did you cost me the match or whatever. And while they're doing all that, Ziggler runs back to the ring and hits Big E with the zigzag. There you go. It was all right. I'm kind of waiting for SummerSlam with Ziggler and Big E just so we can get like a legitimate match out of them. With all the shenanigans and everything. I really only care when they're promoing, not necessarily when they're in the ring. Then afterwards, Christian goes up against Alberto Del Rio, and um, yeah, so it's Christian, so you know he won, even though it's Alberto Del Rio. Like I just like I don't get this. What is the point of putting the belt on Alberto Del Rio other than getting it off of Ziggler and making his heel turn? What is the point? I don't get why Alberto Del Rio has the championship right now. I don't. He continually loses every night. Um, Last night he lost to Christian on a roll up, by the way. Um, on top, and it was a poor one too, because I think Alberto Del Rio was going for like his arm breaker, and like Christian was just supposed to roll through into the roll up, and it was like an awkward 2 seconds after they tried to do the roll up that Christian actually got it in. But like Alberto Del Rio as champion, he just doesn't make me care. He doesn't. Um, and I remember asking you on Twitter, I was like, is Alberto Del Rio like really the only champion that really makes the belt matter right now? And after the last couple of weeks, I got to say no. He doesn't either. Um, and I know it should be John Cena, but like, do we really care if John Cena has the belt? We really care who's going to get it after him, because all John Cena does is find a way to kind of sandwich himself in between title reigns. That's what he does. And it's kind of gotten stale with John. John just like, when he has the title, it's just like he always plays the underdog. He always does. Somehow he is always, always, always the underdog, and it makes no sense at all. But before I get off topic, I'm actually going to talk about it in another. I'm going to talk about it a little later, so I'm going to keep this to the Raw review. Um, yeah, just the Christian Alberto Del Rio match. I didn't care. I don't think either me, Smalls, or Breezy or Weiser really cared about the match. It was just kind of like, it is what it is, and just whatever. Um, so yeah, it seems like Christian's gonna go against Alberto Del Rio in the pay per view. That's what I'm expecting to happen. I'm expecting Alberto Del Rio to choose Christian, and oh god, just like I can't wait to see. I like if Christian really does win this championship, I'm done. I'm done. That belt means nothing. And I just like I don't understand the push. Why Christian? Of all people, why Christian who just made his return? I just it to me it doesn't make sense. But moving on. I digress. Then you had Cody Rhodes going up against Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett, who's just losing. Another guy who's just kind of like dropping matches. But I mean, at least he doesn't have a belt on him. So like, if he drops matches, well, that's another issue. But yeah, Wade Barrett went up against Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes pretty much had him dead to rights in that match. Uh, Wade Barrett, I just kind of like I like me and Smalls talked about this. Small says that he's going for a face turn, and this is why I hate this so much. Um, WWE kind of like sinks their heels, like they just make them lose before they turn them face. Like you can reasonably have a heel winning and make a legitimate reason why they should turn face, other than just pretty much saying, "Hey, lose all your matches." And I feel like that's what they're doing with Wade Barrett. And now that Cody Rhodes has made the face turn, he's gonna start winning like crazy. But whatever. After the match, I think Damian Sandow, Damian Sandow came out and pretty much just went in on Cody, and he's talking about like why he's the like he's the rightful owner of the briefcase, which makes me think that they're gonna have a briefcase match at SummerSlam, where they're gonna decide who gets to keep the briefcase with between Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow. I think that could be interesting. I'd really like it. I think to have a match on the line where you battle for the briefcase, that could be really good. Maybe WWE can do more with it in the future. Whenever there's another Money in the Bank winner, I hope they don't go overboard doing stuff like this, because I don't think every match should be like that. Sorry, every rivalry should be like that, where you're just putting the Money in the Bank briefcase up. But for a feud like that, where it's like somebody jipped somebody out of that contract, having them have a shot at it, I think makes sense, and that's why I kind of I like the feud that Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow are getting. Plus, both of them are getting time. And Damian Sandow is hilarious. He's hilarious when he's on screen. And that's why I have no beef with him becoming like, if he becomes a champion, I think he's going to be a great champion, just because of the fact that he's the kind of guy that can really get heat. He's very funny, enjoyable, and even though he's a heel, I feel like he'll be a much better champion than Alberto Del Rio, who's just your generic kind of heel in a way. So after that, Daniel Bryan had his match against Kane. Um, I can't remember the finish for this one. I thought overall that was an okay match. Not a lot of like Daniel Bryan action in that one. How did he win? Because I felt like Kane was like dominating that. Oh right, Kane was about to hit the choke slam, and Daniel Bryan reversed it and won on a roll up. So yeah, that happened, and then Kane went and choke slammed Daniel Bryan. Now I can understand this because John Cena always paints himself as the underdog, which we're getting really tired of. Um, how do you finally make somebody look like John Cena should be the favorite? This is what you do. Then you have him have a tough match against Kane, and pretty much have Daniel Bryan have to resort to a roll up to win. Um, that I'm actually fine with that, because then you can legitimately make Daniel Bryan the underdog and everything. And now it seems like Daniel Bryan is actually really going to win this at SummerSlam. Um, uh, it's just, I don't know. I feel like Daniel Bryan wouldn't have to do this. He could just be himself and naturally be the underdog if it weren't John Cena. If John Cena, for once, just acted like he's the favorite. If we just wrote a storyline where John Cena is actually a favorite, is actually strong, which he is, but he continues to be painted as the underdog every single time, then Daniel Bryan wouldn't have to do all this. Um, But then after Kane chokeslams Daniel Bryan, Kane goes to raise his hands up, and the second he raised his hands up to kind of make the fire come up, I knew it was going to happen. Out comes the Wyatt family. Like the second he raises his hands up, the screen just cuts and does that kind of like weird thing where Bray Wyatt then comes up on the screen and says, "We're here," and they come out. Um, and once the lights come up and reveal that the Wyatts are in the ring, Kane actually beelines it straight to Bray Wyatt. Just beelines it straight to him, just completely ignoring. Um, oh God, I've completely forgotten their names. Luke. God, I don't know their names right now. I feel terrible, and I should know their names. I don't know why I'm struggling with this right now. But anyway, it just kind of like completely ignores them and goes and makes a beeline for Bray Wyatt. And actually, Bray Wyatt comes to like clothesline, but instead Kane counters with a choke slam. Well, no, he doesn't counter with the choke slam. He goes and starts to choke Bray Wyatt as if he's going for the choke slam. Then the rest of the Wyatt family comes out and stops him from doing that. Bray Wyatt comes in the ring, hits his sister Abigail, and just kind of does a little promo spiel over Kane. It was great. I loved it. Awesome. The Wyatt's promos have been like the best things about each Raw. When things are going wrong, it's just like, well, at least we got that. Afterwards, we had our second Divas match of the night. It's almost as if like they watched my podcast, my podcast, and were like, "Oh, hey, let's give them more time." That, or because of Total Divas, you have to have a match between Brie Bella and Natalia now. Which, by the way, Total Divas, just oh god. But anyway, Brie Bella actually legitimately beats Natalia in a match. Oh, sorry, no, she didn't. What am I talking about? She doesn't legitimately beat her. I'm sorry. Let's actually recap this match. Who cares for like a minute or a minute or two? Then Natalia is about to hit her sharpshooter, and just as Natalia is about to hit the sharpshooter, here comes Nikki Bella coming out, and Nikki Bella goes ahead and like has like a kazoo and starts saying something about a duck. She just goes like quack 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 quack. Like I didn't get it. It wasn't funny. It made no sense to me. I wasn't understanding why she was doing that. Like why she was doing the whole quack quack thing. It just didn't make sense. Um, yeah, it was just overall very weird. Um, and then Brie Bella got a roll up on Natalia because Natalia got distracted by that. Nikki Bella coming, and she came from the ramp too. Like she didn't escort uh Brie to the ring. Nikki just came out and was like quack 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 quack, and I was just like, I don't get this. This makes no sense. This is stupid, and it's another way to just remind Natalia, hey, you're just here because whatever. Natalia just really needs to fight like WWE for this. Just like to fight to really be like respected because the Bellas just came out of nowhere and came back into wrestling even though they quit. They came back into the WWE. Natalia's been here this entire time, has worked her ass off for years, and just can't get any respect, can't get a decent feud, can't get a WrestleMania match. I mean, like, granted, Natalia had her run with Beth Phoenix and everything, so let me not say she's had nothing, but like to sit here and make her underneath the Bella twins, I think is the most ridiculous thing ever. Just stupid. Just stupid. So yeah, that was a horrible 2 minute match. Just horrible. Then Curtis Axel came out. And once I found out that Curtis Axel was going to get up against R-Truth, and Curtis Axel cut his little promo and everything with, well, no, let me not say Curtis Axel cut his promo. Paul Heyman cut Curtis Axel's promo for him, and started talking about CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, Best versus the Beast. I knew right away. I was like, CM Punk is coming out. He's coming out because he's finally going to attack Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman. Um, so Curtis Axel beats R-Truth, and once that happens, out comes CM Punk, storming to the stage. Storming to the ring. Paul Heyman runs away, and then CM Punk just pretty much destroys Curtis. Well, I don't want to say destroys him, but just beats down Curtis Axel. I think he like threw him over the ring announcers table. Just like gave him a pretty good beating, and then he wanted to come after um, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman runs away. Curtis Axel tries to stop Punk, and Punk just like clotheslines him over the barricade. It was like that part of it was decent. The match I just didn't care about because it's R-Truth, and his job is just to job. So yeah, decent segment there. I enjoyed it. Then after that was our main event of the evening: John Cena versus Ryback in a tables match. Oh boy, like during the entire stream, me and Smalls, I was dying. Me and Smalls were just dying in laughter because I mean, like, really, John Cena. Well, first of all, let's talk about this. They had a whole bunch of plastic tables lined up around the stage and the ramp where they come down. I'm like, really? Do we need all these tables? And they're plastic tables. It's not like they can go through them. So, like, is this just like, oh, we're having a tables match? Look at our decorations. It's a tables match, guys. Tables. Do you see them? Tables. They're everywhere. This is going to be a tables match, guys. I don't know if you knew. Tables matches. Those can happen. Like, the decoration to me just looks silly. Like, even though it's something like new and it could be cool, like it just went overboard. Like it was cramping up the space that people could walk down the ramp, and like you just don't need all of that to say like this is a tables match. Like we know. So yeah, the thing that was just hilarious about this entire match was just Ryback becoming a total dick. That's what. And I forgot to mention this earlier on during Raw. Ryback stole the show tonight. Ryback is like I don't know if it's like a company, like like if it's just like a lunchroom or a break room or something. Like there's just like two random employees. They're just sitting there and like eating food and chips and stuff. And Ryback just comes in and he's just gonna start like eating the food. He starts talking shit to this guy and he slams him up against the wall pretty much. And the guy has the look of I just shit myself on his face. All right. So then Ryback goes and like grabs a hand of like no. He grabs a sandwich or something. I can't remember what it is. I think it was a sandwich. Grabs a sandwich and just slaps the dude with it. He just slaps the shit out of him with it. And he just has like a smear of like tuna all over his face. There's a giant like wad of it like stuck in his ear. While Ryback is seriously cutting a promo in the back. He's just become a bully. That's what he is. He's a total bully and it's hilarious. And then he like put the dude through a table. Like he didn't have to do it. Like none of that was necessary. Nobody did anything to him to deserve that. He just did it because he can. So yeah. So during the entire match, like Ryback is just like killing me. Like there was a moment where Ryback went to go get a table, and no, I think Cena went to go get a table and was setting up to like get it up in the ring and everything. And Ryback stopped them from doing that, or something happened. I don't remember what happened before this happened, but just out of nowhere, Ryback I know what it is. Ryback wanted to charge at Cena up against the post with the table. And Ryback goes and charges with the table, hits the post, and it doesn't break right away, but like I think he notices that it cracks. And so instead of just like just letting it go and just letting it sit there, he just goes and like continually tries to ram it through. And on the third try, it just finally breaks and he just throws the table away. He is out of control right now. Then later on in that match, I think there was there was something else set up for him too, where John no, I think Ryback was thrown outside and John Cena was gonna like come after him with a table or something, and Ryback just goes and like he crawls under the ring. Like imagine that big pale Ninja Turtle like crawling under the ring. And like he's like John Cena's trying to like figure out like okay where did he go under the ring and he's looking for him and Ryback crawls out the other side like he's Hornswoggle and this is why we started calling him like Hornback or like Ryswoggle. Like it's just so ridiculous. Like he really like he's almost like a cartoon now. It's hilarious and he he was just like stealing the night away. It was a bad match, but like every stupid thing that Ryback could have possibly done, he did, and he made it worth watching. It's kind of like just watching Scott Steiner's cut a promo. It's just how do you not laugh? It's gold, and and there was something else going on in that match. There was like this obsession with them putting the table half on like the steel steps. So it was like on the steel steps on the outside, part on the steel steps, and then part on the ring. So like they would remove the steel steps, kind of use it almost as if it's like a table leg, and then use the apron of the ring as the other table leg. And it's just it looked silly because you knew nobody's going through that. I mean, like, come on, if you put somebody through that, that's gonna hurt. Like you can really injure somebody putting someone through a table like that. And it got to a point where it actually became a roadblock between Cena. Like, well, they had two of them set up at first, but then I think like Cena or Ryback broke one of them on one side, and then it got to a point where it became like a roadblock between Cena and Ryback, the last one that was standing. So as it's a roadblock, Ryback decides, you know what? I'm just gonna get a steel step. I'm gonna sit here and stare at John Cena, and now I'm gonna go get a steel step. So he has a steel step, and he's just staring at John Cena, and like I think Ryback goes at him, and then he just takes the steel steps and just crushes the table with it, so that he can go through and get John. John runs and gets the other steel steps, and so now the two of them are just kind of like looking at each other, like they're getting ready, like it's dueling steel steps. Like they're gonna like charge at each other, and like the person who stands up last is like a joust almost with steel steps. That's what it looks like what's about to happen. What actually ends up happening might be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Um, they sit there, they get ready, and then they throw the steps at each other. Like they throw the steps so that it's almost like it was just like it didn't make sense. Like why would you ever do that? Like John Cena and Ryback throw the steps so that they clash into each other and then just fall aside. I really don't get that. That makes no sense. And then they go for the finish. John Cena, I want to say he slammed. I don't know what kind of slam it was. It might have been like a scoop slam, or it's definitely not a spine buster because John Cena doesn't do spine busters. But he slammed Ryback on the steel step. He brought the steel steps. There were like steel steps in the ring. It sounds like the way that I'm saying it, it sounds like there's like a million steel steps around the ring, but there's not. The steel steps got in the ring somehow. I don't remember how it happened. And John Cena five knuckle shuffles him on the steel steps, and then hits him with the AA. Match is over. Oh no! That's not what happens. I apologize. I think he AA'd him on the steps. I really like. I'm having a tough time. No, oh, now I remember what happened. John Cena went to go get a table, and he went to go for the AA to put him through the table. Ryback countered it, and like got John Cena on the ground somehow. And oh yeah, he hit him with a meat hook, and then Ryback went to go set up a table on the ring post. So he went to go set it up on like one of the corners of the ring, and Ryback was like setting up for his meat hook, getting ready, and John Cena ducked out of it. And I was about to say, I was like, if Ryback really runs through the table and that's how he loses, I'm done. Like, really, that's what you're gonna do? But he stops himself. John Cena hits the AA on him and puts him through the table because that's what John Cena does. He's the underdog, but he just magically wins everything. It's a great underdog. So yeah, he puts him through the table. Ryback is just kind of like mad and like throwing a temper tantrum outside. It's really hilarious. While John Cena's laid out in the ring, like this was the most tiring thing ever. Oh my god, I can't believe I've won. And then Daniel Bryan just comes out. Daniel Bryan comes out just saying, "Hey, tables, get out of my way." Um, and he goes and he gets the belt. He gets the WWE belt, and and starts like holding it up, like he says he doesn't hold it up. Actually, he's looking at it like he wants to, like he's ready to become the champion. And Daniel Bryan gets in the ring now and starts to like give a gesture as if like he's giving the WWE title back to giving it back to John Cena. John Cena goes and reaches for it, and Daniel Bryan pulls it back, and he's like, "No, no, this is mine." Um, I can't remember what he did with the crowd then. I think he may have started like a small yes chant or something. I don't exactly remember. Um, but he did something to try to distract. Uh, oh yeah, that's right. He did start his yes chants with the crowd, and the crowd was like totally into it. Cena's just kind of looking around the crowd and starts nodding, but then he like steals his belt back. He like yanks it back from him. And then Bryan ends the show with a stare down and does his yes chant. Like the yes chants are just roaring. Like they're ready for Cena to just like not be champion anymore. We all are. Yeah. So overall, I mean, like the recap makes it sound like I enjoyed it and everything, but like the Raw overall was just whatever. Uh, I don't think it was like worst Raw ever or terrible. I just didn't care about a lot of things that were happening. So that's my Raw review. I'm going to be back later on today talking a little bit about the tag team divisions, mid-carders, and main eventers. I'm actually going to roll that all up into one. I said I was going to do it into two separate segments, but I think this is going to work a little better if I do it as one. All right, so there's your Monday Night Raw review for Monday, July 29th, and I'll see you guys a little bit later. 2-1 out.